a hooked thorn coming out of the top of it. I hope you can see that. But basically, if you can't, there's a very straight thorn, and coming out the other side of the branch is a very hooked thorn. Now, what that means is, it doesn't matter which way you're going or moving, it kind of latches onto you. And I was reversing back into some bush whilst approaching some animals a few months ago, and I needed to kind of creep backwards, keeping my eye on the animal, and a buffalo thorn, which this tree is named, latched onto my shirt and tore it. So I'm not the first person to get tangled up in one of these trees. They are notorious. And the reason why they are called buffalo thorns is because buffalo have been known to reverse into them, leaving their horns exposed to fend off predators, and knowing that its rear end will be protected or safeguarded by this network of thorns. It's essentially impenetrable fence for predators who may be trying to approach the buffalo from the other side. Another interesting thing about this specific tree is that it's got a very important traditional use within the local Shangaan community, as well as the Zulu tribe, which is further south along the east coast where I grew up. And when somebody passes away, if they are not, if they do not pass away in their hometown or kind of place of birth, what will happen is a family member will, who is based at their kind of home or place of birth, will go into the bush and find a buffalo thorn and pick out a specific branch, snip it off, and then travel to wherever their family member has passed away and perform a ritual with the branch over the body. And this ritual allows the soul or the spirits of that person to be collected and held within the branches and thorns, and I'm sure the thorns have a part to play in the collecting and holding of the soul. And then that branch will be transported back to the person's place of birth, where they can then perform a proper burial ceremony with their soul. And funnily enough, on the way down to collect the spirit or the soul, the branch will not have to pay an airfare or a taxi fare or a train fare, but on the way back, because they are bringing back a soul or a person, they will actually pay the fare for the transport of that soul or person back to his hometown. Good. Where's this thing going? Yeah. That's good news, because there's plenty more that require attention. Just to keep everybody in the loop, I am not entirely sure of our exact position, or what may pop up around the next corner in terms of dams or riverbeds. But for those of you that have been following WildEarth for a decent period of time, you'll know that anything is possible around any corner. So I am just as excited and interested to find whatever is lurking and waiting for us. I do have a general idea of where the control is and where we need to head back to, but between now and there, anything could happen. The fact that Liam is here is also reassuring me. So, because he's been here for a few weeks, he's got a handle on the road network, so I'm not too concerned. So while I was spending the last 2 days familiarizing myself with the control room and behind the scenes of how everything happens here, I did notice that an opportunity for you, the viewer, to spot an animal is not easy. It'll certainly, I think, be easier for us here in the field to spot something. But that doesn't mean to say you cannot see anything. The only advice I can give, or the best advice I can give, or the idea I can give to you, is instead of looking into the bush where it's very difficult to get a depth of field from the screen, look into the trees, and especially the trees with big horizontal branches, they will potentially be a platform for a leopard to lie down on. So the good thing about looking up into the trees or any elevated branches is that you will be able to see a silhouette, a straight tail hanging directly down from a horizontal branch, or 4 vertical legs hanging down from a horizontal branch. That would be what you need to look for. And that will also help me, because while I'm looking down and in the bushes or left or right, you may see something else. It's happened to me, and I'm sure many other guides before, driving down a road, looking around, not necessarily switched off, but possibly daydreaming and just enjoying the atmosphere. And 5 minutes after you've driven down a road, you may find another vehicle drives down that road and finds a leopard sleeping in a tree that you've just driven under. So it is something worth bearing in mind, that it's easy to oversee some of the predators. I've just stopped over here because we have managed to see a raptor, really interesting raptor or bird of prey. It's in the big tree to our left there, kind of in the center. I'm not sure if we're too far away, but if you just zoom straight in there, and kind of in the top of the screen now, you'll notice a dark blob in that tree. There we go. Obviously it's a long way away, so not easy to see from here, but it's an incredibly beautiful bird of prey called an African hawk eagle. I'm just going to get it in the book for you guys, but to show you a closer picture of it, so give me a second. And these birds of prey are kind of semi-ambush hunters. And interestingly, they hunt in pairs. I've just spotted the mate, which is a couple of 100 meters away, which we'll go to in a few minutes' time to show you that there are two together. And they hunt in cooperation with one another, which is relatively rare for birds of prey. You might find that one may be flying high up in the sky, creating a decoy while the other comes swooping in from a low angle, to give you an idea of what they may be doing. I've just got the book ready here now to show you a closer image of the bird. And here in the bottom left, you can see very pretty black and white markings on its chest, yellow feet and a little yellow cere, which is that little piece of flesh on their bill. So that is the African hawk eagle. They often hunt other birds, such as guinea fowl and francolin. I know that those are kind of top on their list of prey items, but like most predators, they will happily branch out and take whatever opportunity they can. Okay. Interestingly enough, just like I was speaking about earlier about the heating up in thermals, there are a few vultures that have kind of been circling around now, so that's a good sign for us. They've moved off as we were speaking, but it is a good sign for us to show that it's now getting warm enough for the birds of prey to become active and start their day out. So Clancy, I hope you enjoyed that sighting of the African hawk eagle. And everybody else out there, but now that I know that Clancy is interested in raptors, I will keep that in mind going forward. And that goes for everyone, you know, catering for a big safari audience like this is something new to me, but the more we know about what you're interested in and what what gets you excited, the more it allows us to cater for those specific needs and go out of our way to try and do something special for everyone. Obviously, there's a limit to how much we can do out here. Mother Nature's in charge, but if we've got an idea of something that may interest you or something that you'd really like to see, it does help us fine-tune or make decisions as to how to conduct our drives. So good to be back in the Sabi Sands. I left here about 3 years ago, and all the places I've seen between now and then have been incredible, and East Africa does have some incredible wilderness destinations, but to come back to the Sabi Sands really does remind me of how unique and special this environment and ecosystem is. The fact that we have no fences between us and the Kruger National Park really is a huge blessing and privilege to be able to explore an ecosystem of such magnitude, where There's no man influence of us as man to control numbers or